They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
Is that incredible? That was Donald Trump as a candidate making a preposterous boast. And that's campaign talk. Tonight, the news is that it has become an actual part of a legal fight over whether Donald Trump's accountants have to comply with a law that they have to furnish his taxes to Congress. So fast forward to today, Donald Trump's lawyers in federal court claiming he can't even be investigated while in office. A skeptical judge pushed back. The president's claim that he could get away with the shooting came up, and here we go.
What's your view on the Fifth Avenue example? Local authorities couldn't investigate. They couldn't do anything about it.
I think once a president is removed from office, any local authority. This is not a permanent immunity.
Well, I'm talking about while in office.
No.
That's the hypo. Nothing could be done. That's your position.
That is correct. That is correct.
I'm joined by Jason Johnson from The Root. Sir, sometimes we go to lawyers for the big legal things, but we didn't need a lawyer for this one because it's not a serious legal argument, but it was seriously posited in court. Trump's lawyer, in at least private practice, saying their view is he could murder someone.
Yeah, all right. I ain't past the bar, but I know a little bit. The president can't get away with that sort of thing. And the idea that you could make the argument.
Wait, that sort of thing doesn't rhyme with it.
No, it doesn't.
Appreciate you.
I think people picked it up where it went. But the idea that this is, I think, honestly, Ari, one of the most telling moments of all of the controversies, legal and otherwise, about this presidency. They get absolutely apoplectic at the very notion that they have to be held accountable. But at its core, it's what his lawyer argued. We just don't think Donald Trump can be held responsible for anything. And he did sort of mention later on, well, you can sort of collect information for a long-term investigation. But at the end of the day, justice delayed is justice denied. And these people seem to believe that if they can stall long enough and Donald Trump can get reelected, that no one will be able to pursue these cases 5, 6, 7 years from now.
Yeah, and I think it on the one hand can just be some extreme thing that's thrown out. On the other hand, we talk about not letting things become normalized. This is being submitted not in a campaign ad or what is sometimes called rhetoric, political rhetoric and jokes. This is in court. And it tracks with Donald Trump's view. You came out here with a Jay-Z quote about the law. I'm reminded of a more obscure 50 Cent song where he says, I don't want to talk about it, and lists off a bunch of things that he's bragging about while saying, I don't want to talk about it. Maybe that's the only thing that 50 and Trump have in common at a rhetorical level. But the president claims he doesn't want to talk about the fact that he thinks there's a part of the Constitution that makes him like a dictator. Take a look.
Then I have an Article 2 where I have the right to do whatever I want as president, but I don't even talk about that.
Is that right?
No, and it's funny. But this is the sort of typical constitutional flex that Donald Trump likes to do. We know the guy doesn't read, right? It's not like the president's reading on a regular basis. So when he says, well, I can sort of get away with these sorts of things, but I'm not really going to talk about it. It is him sending the message, not just to his supporters, but to all of the people who enable him in Congress, in the administration, in the Justice Department, that I'm going to act with impunity. And it's your job to protect me no matter what it is that I do. And the danger of this is you see it in what happened with Congress. You've got members of Congress trying to go into a skiff and going into private meetings. He emboldens other people to ignore the law.
That's the last thing I want to ask you. Some people might look at this and say there's a lot going on. How big a deal is this? And so I ask you, as a political analyst, if lawyers for President Obama went into a courtroom and said that he could kill people and it couldn't be dealt with or investigated, do you think that would be considered at the time a big deal?
Yes, it would. I mean, President Obama wearing a tan suit was a big deal. President Obama's birth certificate was a big deal. And Ari, I'm very happy that you mentioned this. We can't normalize this. We can't normalize the idea that a president and the people who work for him say that he can operate with immunity. One day, Donald Trump will not be in office. And what we have to remember is that the precedents that he's setting now, whether he serves one term or two, will be followed by other people, perhaps people who are more sophisticated and more dangerous. And we have to call these things out now and hold the people who help him, in addition to the president, accountable.
Jason Johnson, not a lawyer, but making a lot of legal sense, which we prize. Thanks for joining me tonight, sir.
Thanks, Ari.
Appreciate you. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.